What is going on, my fellow Masketeers? Welcome back to another episode, and we are here to talk about John Wick number 4, the fourth chapter in the John Wick series, and in my humble opinion, one of the best original action series to come out in the last decade. In a world full of reboots and remakes, John Wick stands head and shoulders above the rest. Now, with this review, I can't even lie to you, I cannot follow the regular format because so much happens in this movie that I can't even break down the good and the bad. It all just kind of blurs together. Like my last video, I'm just gonna give you a full mesh down of what I liked and what I didn't like about the film. I tried to make it as coherent as possible. With that being said, let me quickly try to give you the synopsis. With John Wick 4, it picks up where John Wick 3 left off. John, as you know, went to the high table, he gave his services, and he said that he's back in the fold. Only then to be betrayed, he's been excommunicadoed yet again. Everybody is after him. Anybody and everybody can try and take out the Baba Yaga himself and try to become famous. While all that is happening, he is trying to work a way for him to finally leave the game once and for all. And like all things in the John Wick universe, the only way to get in is to kill your way out. Blood in, blood out, but the amount of blood you got to give to leave, it's ridiculous. John decides that in order for him to finally get out, he's going to have to go against the high table themselves. On the flip side, the high table have appointed somebody who is quote unquote their representative that has the full backing of the high table and is able to make all unilateral decisions with the high table's permission and full support. He then decides that he is going to pull one of his own assassins, my man Donnie Yen, aka Kane, aka the Blind Master himself, out of retirement and to take one last mission, which is John Wick himself. So John, on the other hand, has also found a way to finally get out of the game once and for all, and to do so he needs to challenge the high table. But he only needs to challenge the representative. Now, within that in and of itself, he has to have the backing of his family. But as we already found out in the previous movie, his ticket got torn up, meaning that he's no longer part of the family. So he literally has to now go get back into the family. Once he's done that, go challenge the representative of the high table. And if he wins, every stipulation that he sets shall be met. And if he loses, he dies. Very simple. Now, again, like I said, so much is happening in this film. In the beginning, he basically goes to see one of his old friends who happens to be the manager at the Continental Osaka. So he's in Japan. Because John has been excommunicated, the manager's got a daughter, Akira, and she's not having it. She literally doesn't want John to be here because she feels that John being here is putting them all in danger, which he is. But my man is a man of honor and John is his friend. So, you know, his riding to the walls fall off, which he did and he does. And let me just say this, when it comes to pure action, this movie has it in spades. Some of the best action scenes and sequences I have seen in the past 5 years, hands down. The one thing which I will say is, good and bad, I cannot lie to you, I was really impressed with Keanu Reeves. Him being a 58-year-old man, still being able to give you action. And again, with John Wick, as you already know, they don't cut away. They do very little cutaway. So you see full wide angle shots of the fights. So it's very hard for you to put a stunt double in. So Keanu Reeves has to do a lot of his own stunts. And at 58, he really did the damn thing. He did such a good job that I was slightly pissed off with the Matrix remake because he was moving so terrible in that movie. And it just goes to show how, again, that movie in and of itself was so dead that even Keanu Reeves couldn't be bothered to get into the right shape for it. Anyway, I digress. Let me get back to the John Wick situation. Now, here's the bad part. I cannot lie to you. In certain parts, he don't move like old John. Let me not lie to you. In certain parts, he was not moving like old John. John Wick in 1 and John Wick in 4, rotted. The years, you can clearly see that time has passed. And even though, like I said, he did a good job, there's certain parts where it feels very slow in that sense. It feels very cumbersome. And again, that is testament to how physically demanding these fight scenes are. And Keanu Reeves is 58. I can't hold it against him too much. The crazy part is, my man Donnie though, woo! My man Donnie, and Donnie's 60. Now, I feel a disclaimer should be put in there because Donnie is a martial artist. He's been doing this all his life, so he's more conditioned to the lifestyle. But Donnie was moving militant. Blind Donnie Yen, aka Kane, magnificent. There's a fight scene in the kitchen in the beginning when they're in the hotel. 100% gold, especially how he uses him being blind in the fight, because he was putting devices around the kitchen, which again at the time I didn't understand why he was doing it. Once the fight starts, it makes perfect sense. The action was just flowing everywhere and it was pure poetry in motion. Donnie Yen is an amazing actor and he's an amazing martial artist. In this film, he does not disappoint. Every scene that he's in, to me, he stole the show. Even his personality as Kane, very captivating. He's somebody that literally doesn't take anything too serious. He's an assassin who's blind. At this point, he's been around for a long time and he survived it all. So for him, nothing really phases him. And I like that take for the character. I think it played well. My only drawback is he didn't really feel like a villain. He wasn't threatening. So as dangerous as he was, you never really felt the danger towards John due to the fact they're friends. No matter what was happening, I never really was drawn into the conflict of the two characters. I thought it was going to be a case of where even though they're friends, there's no line that he won't cross. And when he's been given a job, he will always complete it, no matter the cost. He's loyal to the table kind of thing. That wasn't really the case in this film. He has moments when he's loyal, but he's not really trying to kill John like that. So due to that fact, it kind of lacked some of the intensity, which I feel would have put the film over the top. Honorary mention to Scott Adkins. Can I just say that honestly, I really love Scott. Scott to me is such an amazing actor. I've loved him since the Undefeated series and he literally played Boyka. He's captured me ever since. His range is amazing and he's my number one pick for Batman. He was always my number one pick. He can act and he can fight and he can do his own stunts. Why is he not Batman? Please, this new DCEU, holler at Scott Adkins and pick him to be your new Bruce Wayne. I liked Ben Affleck, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to the physicality of Batman, Scott would blow everybody out the damn water. Now, back to the regular scheduled programming. Let's get back to John Wick. In John Wick, he plays a guy named Killer, and I didn't even recognize him only because they had him in such prosthetics to where he was like in a fat suit. He was like a fat German. I didn't even recognize him. That's how good he was. That's how good he was. So yeah, honorary mention to Scott Adkins, phenomenal actor, did a great job in the film. Also, R.I.P. Lance Reddick, man. He passed away recently, and so when I watched this film and I saw him in there, it really touched me because again, this is probably one of his last movies that you're gonna see him in. He might have maybe like one more left. I have no idea, but it was really heartbreaking to see him in this film, only to know that, you know, this is gonna be the last time you're gonna see him in like the John Wick franchise, which is quite sad. R.I.P. Lance. I must say, the film is 2 hours and 40 minutes, and let me not lie to you. At certain parts, you definitely feel it. I cannot lie. At certain times, I thought to myself, wow, when is this movie actually going to end? Because we've been here for 2 hours and it's still going off. So for me, I felt that was a little bit of a negative. I thought the film went on a little bit too long. And that also ties into another thing, which again doesn't really make a lot of sense within the John Wick universe. There's too many loopholes and way to go around the rules that have been set, because they will say something and then for some weird reason, John has a way to overturn the whole thing, which it doesn't really make that much sense. So as they're world building or expanding the world and the universe of John Wick, I feel they bring more contradictions to it, because again, like I said, there's so many things that happen in the John Wick series where he constantly finds a loophole around what has been set for him. Even with this movie, how he gets the idea to challenge the main bad guy who's meant to be the representative of the table, it doesn't make sense. If he's been excommunicated, that shouldn't work. He should literally just be getting deaded off regardless. And that's another thing. Yo, the amount of people John drops in this movie is mad. I know that John was always efficient in the previous movies, but in this one, this man is moving like a Wolverine. He just can't be killed. Now, yes, I know most of their suits are all bulletproof. And might I just mention, the bad guys in this movie, especially the ones that had the bulletproof suits, these men were really out here giving it all they had. They really were trying to live. That's one thing which I will say with the fight scenes. The fight scenes, these men were struggling to stay alive, and it felt real. It felt epic. It wasn't a case of where they were just fodder, which they were, but they really tried to live. They really tried to put up a really good fight, but they just can't beat John because, again, John literally is Wolverine now. He's that good and he's that efficient. But at a certain point, it just kind of became a little bit crazy. He couldn't be stopped. So much so, you don't really need anybody but John. John can take out an entire army by himself, and this movie proves it. That's also another thing. Where are the police in this? Like, how deep does this underworld go? This world of John Wick, how much do they control? Because they just do anything at any time, anywhere, with no consequences. None of these killings make the news. They don't make reports. There's no cameras. And especially in today's age, how can you kill that many people in broad daylight and no one's whipping cameras out, putting it on Facebook, putting it on Instagram, putting it on TikTok? Somehow, John is able to kill people in broad daylight in public places, and it never makes the news cycle. How much connections does this underworld really have? How deep are their pockets? Because they be doing the most. They even be blowing up buildings without getting no flipping license or putting up a sign saying destruction or demolition happening. They just blow up a building casual on a Saturday morning. They get the casualties, and somehow, like I said, it never makes any news cycle. I just need some answers. How deep do their pockets go? I would say that John Wick, for me, it was a 9 out of 10, man. It was a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought everybody did an amazing job. I thought the action was top tier. There are so many action pieces and set pieces that I can reference, and I can be here all day. I would say that, again, for what it was a really good watch. I felt like everybody pulled their weight when needed. It's not trying to be an overly deep movie. It knows what it is, and it takes itself seriously within the world that it's created, which I can appreciate. So overall, it was a 9 out of 10 for me. Definitely one of the best movies of 2023 thus far. And 2023 has been throwing quite a few movies at us. Those are my thoughts and my opinions on John Wick 4. Please let me know what you thought of it if you've watched it. Sound off in the comments. And like always, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you at the next masquerade. Peace.